Good afternoon or good morning, depending on what time you're watching this. Let me just slide this preview thing over to my other screen so that it's out of our way. Okay, so my name is Mr. Englot, or Mr. E is what I generally go by. And I'm going to be your Pre-Cal 20 teacher this year. And this is August, so I'm just doing an introductory video of running through a few things that you should know for the course. So I'm just on my Google page here right now, which, I'm going to be uploading these Screencastify videos and linking them to the Moodle page. I think I'm going to throw them on the YouTube page. I tried it earlier today, but I had it longer than 15 minutes and it didn't go up. I had to verify my account so that I could make longer videos. So I'm going to try this one here. I'm going to try and make this one about 20 minutes and see if it'll upload nicely. As I'm thinking that most of our videos for the year for instructional purposes will be 25, 30 minutes long, and then the second half of the class you'll do some practice work for math. Anyway, so I'm just on my Google page here. Let's go into the Chinook page. Here. So I will just go to Chinook here and we'll use this link here to get into our Moodle page. We'll go to the Cyber School here. And I'll sign in. You've already signed in as you're watching the video here. So let's pop my courses here. All right, so you can see here I'm signed in already, but there's my courses that I'm teaching. I got calculus and second term coming up after January, Foundations 30, which is a math grade 12 level. This Course of Awesomeness is just a cyber school teacher thing where all the teachers are signed up in there, and we learn a little bit of how to do things from each other and things like that. Pre-Cal 20, this is where we are, and we're going to look at this today. Pre-Cal 30 is grade 12, physics is next term, and this is one that I'm not doing anymore online. I'm doing calculus instead. So let's click on this. All right, so here is the page where we look at math Pre-Cal 20, and here we have some puzzle pieces, and they tell us a little bit about the course and things like that. Don't worry about this announcement. That was from last year when I had my appendix out in January. So that doesn't apply to us this year. That still needs to be removed. I got to delete that. Okay, so we got series and sequence. So the blue part will be the one that we are presently on. So this will look like a little bit to you. If you click on the course outline, which is where we'll start, it'll open up a Word document that goes through what's in the course, pardon me. So the course will be split into two categories, 60% on exam and 40% on a hand-in. If you miss that hand-in or hand-ins, depending on what we're doing, it will be 100% of the exam mark only, which is not the best way to go. Okay, there's 8 chapters which we are going to look at in the areas, in 5 different areas. This says 80%, it should really say 75%. So the finals were 25%, and all the units are worth the other 75%. So 10% is Unit 1, series and sequence. That's geometric and arithmetic series and sequences. Means number, counting by numbers, up or down or dividing or multiplying. Trigonometry is the sine and cosine law, triangles, sine and cosine, tangent, as well as the reciprocal ratios as well in there, cosecant, secant, and cotan. Okay, then that's 10%. This Unit 2 is usually done really well by students. It's been my experience in the last 5-6 years teaching this. Unit 3, quadratics, that's squared terms in there. Squared terms, so you'll have some factorings in there. You'll have some completing of the square. You'll graph them. They'll do 2 different forms, the vertex graphing form. We'll be using a little bit of Adobe Connect, or not Adobe Connect, pardon me, Desmos graphing calculator. The reason I say Adobe Connect is that's what I used last year to broadcast videos. Now I'm using Screencastify. Here we have rationals and radicals in Unit 4. That's another 2-chapter one. That's why they're 20%. There's more to them. And this is fractions with equations. So quadratic equations mainly that you're going to have to factor and reduce, multiply, divide, add, subtract. Okay? And radicals means roots. So you did some experience with that. You had some experience with that in grade 10. And that's 20%. And then solving equations, linear equations, and also quadratics as well. So you might be quadratic, or linear quadratic, or linear you're familiar with from grade 8, 9, and 10, and the final exam. So a little bit here. When you are handing things in, you'll send it to my email, and we'll talk about that in a minute or two. You'll scan them in and send them to my email. I'll mark them, scan them in, and send them back to you. Basically, I have the Gmail account. You can also get a hold of me through chat, Hangout, whatever, if you need to talk to me live or whatever. Okay, the course philosophy is pretty simple. It's going to focus on critical thinking, post the notes that I scan, post the videos that we do, and I might chunk them up. So a typical video, it'll be a traditional type classroom. I like to do class to class, but rather than put the whole 60 minutes up or 50 minutes up or 45 minutes up, because of the limitations of video length and stuff, I might have to chunk one little piece of explanation and then another little piece of explanation, and in between we'll have some practice work from the textbook. Please do the text work for practice. Ask questions about it. Check your answers in the back. Email me questions if you have them. Okay? All those things are very important to do right off the bat. Text work is not worth any marks, but it's very important in our formative work, finding out where our mistakes are, how we can fix our mistakes, and things like that, and where you're going to ask me most of your questions. Okay, then we'll have one of my famous quotes is, if you've never actually done a question like that before you got to a hand-in or an exam, you're going to have some trouble with it because it's not a good idea. It's a good idea to do some practice work and then, see how it goes. Okay, I go by Mr. E most of the time, Mr. Anglot. Mr. E is what I go by most of the time. So that's just the course outline. We'll close that down. Okay, checklist. I don't have it in here. It's a little bit of a different way. It's not I used to be synchronous, have live students with me. This year it's not that way. I have some live students in Vanguard. They're not here right now as this is August. I think I'll have 3, 4, maybe 5 taking pre-cal with me here. So you'll hear them ask questions and things like that throughout the course. And like I said, for the videos, I might have to chop them into 2 pieces. This is part of the reason I'm doing this introductory video. I'm going to try and go past 15 minutes so that see if I can see if my YouTube account has been extended. So the grades is the next thing and probably the most important thing for you. You click on that, and you can see that I'm going to have about one hand in at the end of the unit and a quiz at the end of the unit. During the unit, we'll be doing some practice work that won't be marked per se. It'll just be checked out to see if you're doing well. And then at the end, once you've hopefully learned everything, you'll have a little hand-in to prove that you have, and then you'll have a little quiz. And the hand-in will be worth 40, and the quiz will be worth 60. And then here the units are series and sequence, trigonometry, quadratics, rationals and radicals, or functions and equations, and systems of equations. Okay. And we should have also there, we could get into absolute value if we have enough time. We'll see. If we do, I can throw that in there as well. But at this point, traditionally, I haven't got there very often. And then the final exam. Okay, what your mark will look like when you click that, you won't see that particular view. You'll see this grader report view, which will look like this with your name in it. And it'll have your name in with a number under each of these categories with what you had for a mark. And if you scroll off here to the side, that's all the stuff that's going to be in the course that you'll have to hand in and do. And then there's the course total at the end, and you'll be able to check where you're sitting. And I try my best to get that after the due date, and everything comes to me. If it comes to me on time, then I try to get it done and marked by three or four class days, about a week at most. get it back to you. I can't promise that all the time, but that's what I try to do my best. Now I'm about 50% online and 50% working in the school, and all my online classes have Vanguard students in them as well. But this term I have 2 online classes and 3 others. So I should have the time to do that for you. Okay, so let's go back here from the grades and close it, or hit the back arrow, pardon me. That's my Smart Notebook. Okay, and we're looking at about 10 minutes there. So if we go into the original one here, teacher contact, pretty easy. How you get a hold of me gives you my email here, where I want you to hand things in, scan an email. There's a fax number. I don't like faxes. They always get lost and stuff like that. Scanning and emailing, those photocopiers scan anyway. Your office manager should know how to do that. So email it here, and I'll check that email regularly. If you have questions, email it there. There's my phone number. Okay, if you want to Google Hangout me, right, you can Google chat me up. If I'm not busy, I'll respond to you. I'll say, well, I'm in class right now. Get back to you or whatever. You can do that at this here Gmail account as well. And like I said, if you want to phone me, in case you want to hear me, you can do that as well, and stuff like that. And what I'll do for questions that come through email, if they're easily answered through email and we can kind of get through it that way, do it that way. You might have to take pictures of the phone, I don't know, and send them to me. That happens quite a bit. That's happened in the past. That's fine. If you need more explanation and you need some expository, I'll make a little video, send it off to you with a Screencastify, and just send it off to you or whatever, something like that. And we'll see how that goes. All right, so that's the contact information. I will have some time during the day to respond to your emails over the day. It might not happen right away sometimes. I would have to apologize for that, and that's just because I'm going to be busy during the day. But I do have some time. I think I got a 30-minute block that I'm supposed to be supervising, or maybe it's 45, supervising some Vanguard students doing work. And at that particular time, I'm intending to look at online questions for this term. I think it's about 2:45 is when that is. Okay, so let's close this down here, and let's take a look at the course notes and stuff. Okay, so what would it look like? Okay, so you can see this blue section here. That's what we'd be presently on right now. And this is what you would see each of the sections, but there's nothing in them. When you click on the section, bang, it opens up. It has all the notes and stuff. Now, I won't have everything there. This is last year's work. Just I left it in there so you could see it a little bit. You won't be able to see it right now. As you can see, it's blacked out. But if you click on some notes here, the notes will come out and they'll look like this. Here they'll have a page. See, this is last year's work on September 6th. And then they'll be in PDF form, so you'll be able to print these out if you want, or you can take your own notes in your own notebook. And that's pretty straightforward to do if you want. But if you're one of those people that just likes to follow along and then jot notes on the side, that's okay too. These will be there if you're an online student before the class anyway. Okay, so there's an example. You can see that I've got some marker in there as well, because with math, of course, it doesn't attune to typing easily all the time. So there we go. And then I'll be doing some expository over top as I'm working through the questions, so you'll hear me verbally explaining things as well. And I'll usually keep that little window up there, so if you see me, you know who I am. You don't just hear me. Okay, so we'll close this up here. And I didn't want to close the whole thing up. Whoops. I should have just hit the back arrow. Let's go back into the course here, and we'll just take a look at one more thing in the course there. Sorry about that. Okay, so if we're back into here again, okay, and you'll see at times, as soon as it opens up there, there it is. So this is what a hand-in would look like. See, there's hand-in 1. Okay, now that's probably blacked out right now, but I would, when we get to that at a particular time, you'll be a day or two behind the Vanguard students here in Vanguard, probably, because I'll have to make these videos and put them in during the period and during the class and things like that. So if I click on a hand-in, it would open up in Word format, and then you would be able to print it off, do your work right on it, scan it, and email it. Now, most of mine will have space. This one doesn't. but you'll see that's a typical hand in there for what you would do. That would be a unit ending hand in for the first unit. Do all those 12 questions there. Like I said, sometimes I don't leave space and you do it on some other paper and scan it in. Sometimes I'll just put space in there. Most of them I think I put space in, and this is an older assignment of mine that I didn't have the space and I was trying to conserve paper or something. So that's what they would look like. And you can even see right in here, I even have, I don't have an old exam in here as well, but I will probably send your exams to your supervisor so that you have to be supervised during exams and so forth. All right, so again, I'm looking forward to working with you guys. Right now we're past 15 minutes, so that should be good for the YouTube see if when I try to upload it to YouTube, if it's too long or not, if I got it verified, so that'll be great. I'm looking forward to working with you guys. This is August, so I don't know who anybody is yet. What I would ask you to do after watching this introductory video, if it's first class of the day and there's no other work there for you to look at, I'll be opening them up slowly as we go. And then you'll be working through them. So if you're keeping up with what I'm opening up, you'll be right on schedule. If you're within a couple of days of that, you're like, no problem. Like, I'm not going to freak out. I'll have dates on there and everything, so you have an idea. Okay. As well, for, I guess, for marks and things like that, I do allow, I guess, if you have a really bad exam or something like that, I do have second exams. I don't have what I call rewrites because I don't give you the same exam. I just give you another one. Okay, if you really bomb on it, but you have to tell me within that week. Okay, that you get it back and say, oh, Mr. Ely, it's just terrible. I want to give it another shot on this day, and then I will. But if that becomes a crutch for you, then that's not necessarily a learning tool. So, but if you do say bomb one and you want to give it another roll, once you get it back and say, I want to try again, I usually have second exams as well that are similar to the first exam with different questions and things like that, so that it's not the exact same. All right, so I'm going to stop there with my introductory video. I'm hoping that I can get half an hour or so in instruction and then about 20 minutes or so in practice for every math class that we do, and hopefully that'll work out well. We'll see how that goes, and they'll be posted in here, and you'll see how that goes. So just to give you an idea, what I do is I'll click on this, editing, and then it'll change the screen. You won't see it this way. And then I'll have the ability, and then that's how I post things in. I just add them in here, and then you'll see them in the chronological order, and I'll have the dates on them and everything, and I'll have a little bit of an explanation of what they're going to be like. Okay, so that's going to be it for today. I'm looking forward to working with you guys. I'm going to post this introductory video up. Hopefully everything worked, and it looks nice and clear and stuff, so we'll see how that is. And like I said, the big thing is don't be afraid to ask me questions. That'll help a lot. Okay, so I'm going to stop the video and post it up, and hopefully you have a good year in Math Pre-Cal 20.